In the desolate expanse of New Mexico, a landscape scarred by history and shrouded in secrecy, Jeffrey Epstein established his fortress. Zorro Ranch, a sprawling 10,000-acre estate, was more than just a luxurious hideaway for the disgraced financier and his powerful associates. It was a statement of intent, a physical manifestation of a dark and ambitious vision. The ranch's isolation was its greatest asset, a vast buffer against prying eyes and the rule of law. Surrounded by public lands leased for pennies, equipped with a private airstrip for discreet arrivals and departures, it was the perfect stage for activities that could never withstand the light of day. This was not merely a home, it was a compound designed for control. The very air around Zorro Ranch seems thick with mystery. Its name, Zorro, Spanish for fox, hints at the cunning and deception that defined its owner. The property itself was an enigma, featuring a palatial main house, a private fire station, and a network of roads that snaked through the rugged terrain. But beneath the surface-level opulence lay disturbing rumors and unsettling designs. Epstein, a man obsessed with science, technology, and control, reportedly envisioned this isolated kingdom as the epicenter of a project so audacious it defied belief. It was here, far from the bustling streets of New York or the sun-drenched shores of his private island, that his most disturbing fantasies began to take concrete shape. The history of the land itself adds another layer of intrigue to the dark saga of Zorro Ranch. Situated just over 100 miles from the Trinity site, where the world's first atomic bomb was detonated, the area is steeped in the legacy of world-altering and world-ending technology. It also sits in proximity to some of America's most secretive government installations, including the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the birthplace of the atomic age. This strategic location was no accident. For a man like Epstein, who moved in circles of immense power and sought to harness science for his own ends, this proximity to the heart of America's technological and military might was both symbolic and practical. The ranch was a theater of power, where Epstein played the role of a modern-day feudal lord. He entertained a cast of characters ranging from politicians and princes to Nobel laureates and tech billionaires. These guests were not just there for the scenery, they were part of the project. They were the audience, the investors, and the intellectual architects of the chilling future Epstein was attempting to build. The secrets of Zorro Ranch are not just about the depraved acts of one man, but about the complicity of an elite network that shared, or at least entertained, his terrifying vision for humanity. The desert holds its secrets well, but some truths are too monstrous to remain buried forever. At the core of Jeffrey Epstein's dark ambitions was a twisted ideology rooted in the disgraced pseudoscience of eugenics. He was not just a predator, he was a man who believed he had the right and the means to reshape the very genetic fabric of humanity. Epstein was obsessed with the idea of creating a superior human race, one seeded with his own DNA. He spoke openly to scientists and associates about his plan to use his wealth and influence to father countless children, selecting women he deemed genetically worthy to carry his offspring. This was not a passing fantasy, but a meticulously planned project, a sinister echo of the darkest social engineering experiments of the 20th century, repackaged for the modern age of genetic science. This horrifying vision was intertwined with his deep fascination with transhumanism, a movement that seeks to enhance human capabilities through technology. For Epstein, this meant more than just artificial intelligence or cybernetic implants. It meant directed evolution. He generously funded transhumanist organizations, including Humanity Plus, and surrounded himself with thinkers who explored the boundaries of what it means to be human. He was particularly interested in germline editing, making heritable changes to human DNA, and cryonics, with disturbing reports suggesting he wished to have his head and genitals frozen after death, perhaps in the hope of a future reawakening. His goal was not just to leave a legacy, but to achieve a form of biological immortality. Epstein's philosophy was a toxic cocktail of narcissism, scientific hubris, and racist pseudoscience. Leaked communications from 2025 revealed discussions with Silicon Valley elites that touched upon population control, fascism, and even climate culling, suggesting a belief that some lives were more valuable than others and that the masses could be managed or eliminated for the greater good of a chosen few. His eugenics plan was the ultimate expression of this worldview. By seeding the human race with what he considered his superior genetic material, he sought to create a new lineage, an elite caste born from his own design, forever altering the course of human history to fit his own grotesque self-image. The plan was chillingly specific. He envisioned using his New Mexico compound, Zorro Ranch, as a baby ranch, a facility where dozens of women would be impregnated simultaneously. He believed that his DNA, combined with the carefully selected genes of his chosen mothers, would produce a generation of super babies. This wasn't just about ego, it was about control on a global generational scale. He was attempting to play God, using his immense wealth not just to buy influence or luxury, but to purchase the future of our species. The horror of Epstein's crimes is magnified by the realization that his ultimate goal was to inflict his legacy upon humanity itself. The concept of the baby ranch was the operational blueprint for Jeffrey Epstein's eugenic ambitions. According to numerous reports and accounts from those in his circle, Zoro Ranch was being prepared to serve as a human breeding ground on an industrial scale. The plan was as simple as it was monstrous. Epstein intended to impregnate as many as 20 women at a time, creating a steady stream of offspring that carried his DNA. He saw himself as a progenitor, a founding father of a new and improved human race. This wasn't just a bizarre fantasy. It was a project he discussed with a chilling degree of seriousness, outlining his vision to scientists and confidants who were either too intimidated or too intrigued to object. This plan was not just about quantity, it was about perceived quality. Epstein's selection criteria for the women he wanted to impregnate were deeply rooted in eugenic principles. He sought out women who were not only attractive but also highly intelligent, believing this combination would produce superior offspring. He was meticulously cataloging potential candidates, viewing women not as individuals but as vessels for his genetic legacy. The very idea of a ranch reduces human life to the level of livestock, to be bred and managed for desirable traits. It reveals a profound contempt for human dignity, recasting the miracle of birth as a cold, mechanical process of genetic manufacturing. The logistics of this operation were being actively considered. The isolation of Zorro Ranch, its private airstrip, and its network of buildings made it the ideal location to house women and carry out such a program in total secrecy. The women would be brought in, impregnated and cared for away from the prying eyes of the world. Epstein would have complete control over every aspect of their lives and the lives of the children they produced. It was a vision of absolute power, extending beyond his own lifetime into the generations to come. The scale of this ambition is difficult to comprehend, a testament to a level of narcissism so profound that it sought to remake the world in its own image. Leaked reports and insider testimonies have painted a disturbing picture of how seriously Epstein pursued this goal. He wasn't just talking about it, he was putting the pieces in place. He cultivated relationships with geneticists, fertility experts, and other scientists who could provide the technical expertise needed to turn his vision into reality. The baby ranch was the horrifying centerpiece of a much larger network of scientific and financial interests, all aimed at achieving a singular, terrifying objective. The blueprint for this ranch represents one of the darkest and most audacious plots against humanity in modern history, a plan to hijack evolution for the benefit of one man's ego. While Zorro Ranch was the intended headquarters for Epstein's breeding program, the scientific groundwork was allegedly being laid thousands of miles away in the permissive regulatory environment of Ukraine. Recently released DOJ files from 2025 to 26 have unearthed a trail of emails that expose a direct link between Epstein's circle and experimental genetic research conducted in Ukrainian labs. These communications revealed that the theoretical eugenics plan was moving towards a practical, operational phase. Ukraine, a known hub for ethically questionable bioresearch, provided the perfect shadow location for projects that would be impossible to conduct in the West, offering a veil of secrecy and minimal oversight for dangerous and immoral experiments. A series of stunning emails from 2018, sent by a Bitcoin developer and transhumanist named Brian Bishop, lays the plan bare. In these messages, Bishop sought up to $9.5 million from Epstein to fund a designer babies project. An email from August 30th, 2018, FD WO2625486, is particularly damning, with Bishop mentioning his intention to proceed with more mouse testing at my Ukraine lab, surgeries, micro-injection. This single line confirms the existence of a physical laboratory in Ukraine and the nature of the work being done. Invasive genetic experiments that were clear precursors to human trials. The project was real, it was funded, and it was happening. Another email from Bishop, dated August 5th, 2018, EFD 1239666, outlines the project's ultimate ambition with terrifying clarity. It describes a goal of achieving the first live birth of a human designer baby, and possibly a human clone, within 5 years. The email references a designer baby and human cloning company, indicating a formal commercial structure behind the grotesque vision. The proposed method was radical, moving beyond simple gene therapy to a form of embryo editing described as being more similar to cloning. This was not just about preventing disease. It was about creating custom-designed human beings, and potentially exact copies of them. Epstein's interest in the project was clear, though he was characteristically cautious, expressing concern about being publicly identified as its leader. He preferred to operate from the shadows, pulling the strings and providing the capital, while others took the public-facing risks. The Ukraine connection reveals the global nature of Epstein's network and his strategic use of different locations for different purposes. While Zoro Ranch was the planned nursery, Ukraine was the hidden research and development wing, a place where the fundamental and most dangerous work of human genetic manipulation and cloning could be perfected far from Western eyes, ready to be deployed when the time was right. The most chilling evidence of the horrors planned and perpetrated by Epstein comes not from emails or financial records, but honestly, from the brave survivors who endured his abuse. Their accounts provide a human dimension to the abstract horror of his eugenic plans, grounding them in terrifying personal experience. Juliet Bryant, a survivor with connections to Zorro Ranch, has described an experience that sounds like it was lifted straight from a science fiction nightmare. She recalled waking up completely paralyzed on what she described as a lab table, surrounded by sophisticated medical equipment. Epstein himself was present, watching her, and in her disoriented state she perceived him as shifting forms, a detail that some have interpreted as hinting at cloning or other advanced, disorienting technologies being tested on victims. This account, well, it transforms the ranch from a mere den of abuse into a site of non-consensual human experimentation. The presence of a lab table and medical machinery corroborates the idea that scientific procedures were taking place on the property. Bryant's testimony suggests that Epstein's victims were not only subjected to sexual violence, but were also potentially used as unwilling test subjects in his quest to unlock the secrets of genetic control and human consciousness. Her experience of paralysis and Epstein's strange appearance points towards a deeply sinister and technologically advanced operation, one that went far beyond the crimes for which he was publicly known. Further evidence can be found in the work of Maria Farmer, an artist who was one of Epstein's earliest victims. Farmer was commissioned to create murals for Epstein's properties, and her artwork is said to contain a hidden symbolic language. Researchers who have studied the murals claim they are filled with transhumanist imagery, including portals, strange machinery, and motifs of transformation. Some interpret these artistic elements not just as symbolic representations of the abuse she suffered, but as literal depictions of the bizarre and futuristic activities she witnessed. Her art may be a coded message, a visual testimony to the secret scientific projects happening just out of sight. These survivor accounts are crucial because they bridge the gap between Epstein's theoretical ambitions and the reality of his actions. They suggest that his interest in cloning, eugenics, and transhumanism was not just a topic of dinner conversation with scientists. It was an active, operational pursuit that directly involved the abuse of his victims. Juliette Bryant's story of the lab table and Maria Farmer's symbolic murals paint a consistent and terrifying picture. They tell us that within the walls of Epstein's mansions, the line between sexual predation and sinister scientific experimentation had been horrifyingly erased. A man like Jeffrey Epstein, no matter how wealthy or intelligent, could not pursue a plan to re-engineer the human race alone. He required a network of enablers, collaborators, and intellectual guides, the architects of his monstrous vision. He actively cultivated relationships with prominent scientists and thinkers, particularly those working on the cutting edge of genetics, paleontology, and transhumanist philosophy. These connections were not merely for social status. They were a way for him to acquire the knowledge, credibility, and technical expertise necessary to turn his dark fantasies into a plausible, actionable project. He was a master at co-opting the brilliance of others for his own sinister purposes. One of the most revealing connections is Epstein's relationship with Jack Horner, the renowned paleontologist who served as the primary advisor for the Jurassic Park films. In a 2012 email, Horner thanked Epstein for a visit to Zorro Ranch with the girls, a chillingly casual reference that places him directly at the scene of Epstein's operations. Horner's professional life was dedicated to the idea of de-extinction, or bringing dinosaurs back to life through genetic engineering and cloning. The parallels between resurrecting an extinct species and Epstein's goal of creating a new type of human are unmistakable. Horner's expertise in cloning and genetics would have been invaluable to a man with Epstein's ambitions. Epstein also poured money into the coffers of transhumanist philosophers like Nick Bostrom of Oxford University. Bostrom is a leading figure in the long-termism movement, which focuses on shaping the distant future of humanity and is known for his work on existential risks like artificial intelligence. By funding thinkers like Bostrom, Epstein was not just donating to an academic cause, he was buying intellectual capital and legitimacy. He was embedding himself within the very conversations that were shaping the future of technology and human evolution. This association allowed him to frame his eugenic ideas within a sophisticated, forward-thinking philosophical framework, masking their grotesque nature with a veneer of intellectual respectability. These architects were essential to the entire enterprise. They provided the scientific theories, the philosophical justifications, and the technical know-how. Whether they were witting accomplices or were simply willfully blind to the true nature of their benefactor's plans is a question that demands answers. What is clear is that Epstein surrounded himself with the very people who could help him build his new world. From the man who imagined resurrecting dinosaurs to the philosopher contemplating the far future of humanity, Epstein assembled a team of experts whose work, intentionally or not, provided the intellectual scaffolding for his plot to seize control of the human genome. The choice of Zorro Ranch as the hub for Epstein's operations was a masterstroke of strategic planning, rooted in a deep understanding of power, secrecy, and geography. Its location in the New Mexico desert was not just about isolation, it was about proximity to the heart of the American military, industrial, and scientific establishment. The ranch is situated in a region dense with some of the nation's most secretive and significant sites. It is only 111 miles from the Trinity site, the crucible of the atomic age, and lies near the Los Alamos National Laboratory, a place synonymous with cutting-edge and often top-secret scientific research. This placement put Epstein's private kingdom in the shadow of immense state power. This proximity has fueled intense speculation about the ranch's true purpose and its connections to clandestine government activities. The area is rife with lore about deep underground military bases, most famously the rumored Dulce base, a legendary site in conspiracy circles said to be a hub for human-alien genetic experiments. While such claims are extraordinary, the geology of the Zorro Ranch property, which includes natural caves, is theoretically ideal for constructing hidden underground laboratories. For a man obsessed with secrecy and engaged in potentially illegal scientific research, the ability to build unseen facilities would have been a paramount concern. The ranch's operational security was further enhanced by its physical makeup. The vast acreage was surrounded by cheaply leased public lands, creating an enormous buffer zone that was difficult to penetrate or surveil. Anyone approaching would be easily spotted long before they reached the main compound. Furthermore, the private airstrip was the key to the entire operation. It allowed Epstein and his high-profile guests, including politicians, royalty, and tech moguls, to come and go with no public records, no commercial flight manifests, and no questions asked. This logistical independence made Zoro Ranch a sovereign entity, operating under its own rules, far from public accountability. This web of power, proximity, and paranoia created the perfect environment for Epstein's plans to flourish. He was insulated by geography, protected by his connections to powerful people in government and science, and equipped with the infrastructure to operate in complete secrecy. The location suggests a man who was not just hiding from the law, but was also aligning himself with the hidden currents of power that shape our world. Zorro Ranch was not on the fringe of civilization. It was strategically placed at the nexus of secret science and military might, a dark kingdom hiding in plain sight. As investigators and researchers delve deeper into the digital archives left behind by Jeffrey Epstein and his network, a disturbing pattern of coded language and financial obfuscation is beginning to emerge. The communications are often deliberately vague, using technical and financial jargon that could be interpreted in multiple ways. This ambiguity appears to be by design, allowing sensitive and potentially criminal plans to be discussed in a deniable fashion. File drips from as recently as early 2026 have reportedly uncovered mentions of algorithms for estate planning assets in the context of deals with powerful financial entities like the Rothschilds. On the surface, this sounds like standard high finance chatter. However, in the context of Epstein's known obsessions, this language takes on a much more sinister meaning. For a man fixated on transhumanism, cloning, and seeding the human race with his DNA, Terms like assets and estate planning could be interpreted as chilling euphemisms. Was he talking about financial assets, or was he referring to his genetic material, his DNA, as the ultimate asset? Could estate planning be code for planning the lineage of his genetically engineered offspring? In this light, algorithms might not refer to financial models, but to the complex genetic sequences and selection processes required for his eugenics program. This practice of using coded language extends to his discussions about achieving immortality. A cryptic note found in the 2025-26 DOJ file releases allegedly documents a conversation between Epstein and Prince Andrew about cloning without conscience. The purpose of such clones was described in terrifyingly utilitarian terms. They were for spare parts to prolong the lives of the elite and to act as vessels for consciousness, effectively allowing a person to achieve immortality through a series of copies. This conversation, if accurately reported, moves the concept of cloning from a theoretical eugenics project to a practical, ghoulish application for personal gain. This hidden agenda is also mirrored in other conspiracy theories, such as the claims made by Donald Marshall regarding a REM-cloning subculture among the global elite. Marshall alleges that powerful individuals transfer their consciousness into clone bodies while they sleep to live out secret lives. While there is no direct evidence linking Epstein to these specific claims, the thematic overlap is undeniable. The pursuit of perfect physical vessels, the segregation of consciousness from the body, and the goal of cheating death. The coded communications and secretive plans suggest that Epstein was not just a participant in this dark world, but one of its key architects, using his wealth and connections to turn these horrifying fantasies into a potential reality. Jeffrey Epstein may be gone, but the terrifying ideas he championed and the powerful network he cultivated remain. His death did not put an end to the dark ambitions of eugenics, transhumanism, and cloning. It merely removed the most infamous public face associated with them. The science and technology he sought to exploit have only advanced since his death. The capability to edit the human genome with tools like CRISPR is becoming more accessible, and the ethical lines he so eagerly sought to cross are being debated in laboratories and boardrooms around the world. The threat he represented was never just about one man. It was about an ideology of control that persists and grows stronger. The network of scientists, financiers, and powerful figures who were part of his circle has not been fully exposed or held accountable. These are individuals who, at best, were willing to entertain his monstrous plans, and at worst, were active collaborators. They remain in positions of power and influence, continuing their work and shaping the future of science and technology. The projects initiated in places like Ukraine may not have simply vanished. The infrastructure, the knowledge, and the personnel could still be active, operating under new leadership and fresh funding, continuing the push toward designer babies and human cloning far from public scrutiny. We must understand that Epstein's vision is seductive to a certain class of the ultra-wealthy and powerful. The dream of transcending human limitations, of achieving immortality, and of designing one's own lineage is the ultimate expression of ego. As technology makes these things seem plausible, more individuals with vast resources and a lack of ethical restraint will be tempted to follow in his footsteps. The blueprint is already there. The scientific pathways are being mapped. All that is required is the will and the wealth to proceed, and our world has no shortage of either. The fight against this dark future is a fight against an ideology, not just a single criminal. Therefore, we must remain vigilant. The revelations about Epstein's secret plans at Zorro Ranch and in the labs of Ukraine are not a closed chapter of history. They are a stark and urgent warning. They expose a hidden world where the very definition of humanity is up for sale, where children are seen as assets and DNA is a commodity. The plans to create a master race and achieve a form of manufactured immortality may not have died with Epstein. They may have simply gone deeper underground, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge. The threat is not over. It may have only just begun.